Okay, so I want to just take a look and hide all here. And if you look at the video, it looks like it starts exactly in the middle of this indent channel for the site here. And I've got 7 dips and 6 risers here. And I can use this. Let me hide unselected and then unhide by name here and do this plane. Then I can make this see-through. So I want to basically, it also looks like it goes right up to this guy here, so it looks like I'm going to be indenting this channel all the way up to here. This line here, and I need to do it on both sides. However, I could just do it on one, but for the sake of completion, let's say you wanted this to be a left-hand gun, you didn't want to mirror the gun, but you wanted it in his left hand. We'll go ahead and do both sides anyway. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to get these segments. Let me see, how far down does it go? It's to the bottom of the gun, so I'm going to get that guy. Let me zoom in a little bit, and I'll pick that guy too on that side. Now this one, before I do that, I think I'm going to want to get those out of there. Okay, let me get rid of the plane real quick. Just go into wireframe view and I'll just go across everything and then get rid of these guys here. It might have got rid of something up here, which it did. Let me hit J to get rid of that stupid box. Okay, those are the segments I pretty much want to cut. I'm going to do one side at a time because it might attempt to bridge. Actually, let's just see if it does. Nope, it's doing it okay, so just going to connect it one time here. And I'm going to make it planar in the X, so it's straight. And then let me unhide all and hit Alt X and then view F, so that I can start it at the right point, which is about there. A little hard to see through this to the light gun in the background, but that is where it is. Okay. Hide unselected and Alt X, so that's where I'm starting. And I need to cut here as well. Can try another method of cutting, which is using a slice plane. Which is located around here. Slice plane, just activate it. You can see it goes flat. I want to rotate it up. Make sure I'm on my angle snap so I can get a perfect 90 degrees. Okay, that's 90 degrees. Then I can move this, and you can actually see my line drawing. So I'm going to let me double check my reference image. Okay, so I have actually 2 lines here that I need to cut on either side, and then the distance here, this looks like about half of the whole thing, and these look like they're about a quarter. These look like roughly half the width of this guy. It's a little more than half, I think. So I'm going to cut on either side, here and here. That'll give me a guide for this. I'm going to have to play with it a little bit if I don't don't measure. So it looks like about there. Then I just hit slice, and then I can try to get the same distance. Let me undo that one because I think I need a little more thickness there. Okay, slice that, and I can move my next one over, say about there, slice it. Now I don't want to just go slicing down the whole line here, however, I am going to slice once there, just to match that up, and then I can uncheck slice plane, and now I've got my segments cut in. I'm not worried about the uglies that show up down here. However, up here can potentially be a little bit of a problem. So now what I can do is I'm just going to hold control, switch that to edges, and get rid of these horizontal ones here, or vertical ones, sorry. And you know what? Sometimes I start and then decide it's not working out. So I can ring that, and I can ring that. It doesn't give me anything extra. Now let's just quickly try to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's try 10. You can always cut in more segments. So connect with 10. You can see I'm pinching them. Let me even them out. Hit OK. Okay. Now what I want to do is go by polygon and pick every other here. Then what I can do is I can use the scale tool and tell it to use each one's center. Or I think that will do it. Yeah, you see I can squish each one individually. So let me try to match that rough. And that looks pretty close. That width and that width look okay. Might be a hair thinner here. I can try to even it out a little bit later. And I blew it when I did my slicing like a dum-dum. So I'm going to go back and undo real quick. Oops. I didn't get this top edge here, which I need, so I can connect that again. And now I can get every other. Which starts here. Okay, now I'm going all the way to the top, which I want. Okay. Don't like this here. Let's see what I can do about that in a little bit. You can see I've got some extra segments of stuff down here that I'm going to have to tie up. But like I said, if I edge all the way around this thing and make a mess down here, it's not going to be noticeable. It's going to be under the model. You won't see it. Smoothing groups can help if I separate them. Okay, so basically these guys stay out, while these guys need to extrude in and flatten Oops, I don't want that one. Let's just do one side at a time here. Try to think, if I just hit it with a regular extrude, let's just see what happens. And I think it is by group, I think. Yeah, it's on group. So I'm just going to keep that and hit OK. I know it blasted it out, but I just want to make it plainer in the Y really quick. And then let's see if I can snap. If I click right on here, it's going to pick something else. But if I click a little inside, it's still using, you can see that yellow crosshair that shows up when I hit a vert. So it's saying, okay, I'm registering this vert. It's trying to register the closest vert. So I click there, and then I should be able to hit it to that vert, which is working out okay. They feel a little deep to me, which probably means I went a little too far with this curve, which is okay. I also need to get rid of, if you look at the reference, there's no bottom lip there, so I've got to get rid of that, all this stuff, which means I need to help myself here and get off a snap. And I'll just connect that and make sure it's one segment, not 10. Okay, and then let me get that right depth here, just by copying the Y. And then I can paste that Y. It brings it out, so that's in line. So I should have, if I had connected all the way down to that, I'd have been a lot better off. So it might be a good idea to undo back. I think what's going to be faster, fixing this or undoing back and splitting this first, keeping that value. Let's go ahead and undo back and see how it works out before I cut. Just keep going. Make sure it's okay. Can still keep undoing. If it doesn't look like it's doing anything, it's probably because it's rolling through selections. Other times it's literally just not doing anything. So okay, you can see now that I'm back to before I cut. I'm just not worried about this part. I can manually do that. I don't want to exactly, being that this is already split here and I try to do a connect, it's gonna freak. So let me get these two and connect it with one segment, and then I'll paste that Y. Then I'm going to get these two and connect them, and I'm going to also paste that Y, except get rid of the minus sign, and now that's in line. So I'm going to get this one and hit ring, copy that. I know it's going to give me problems here, so let me just really quickly insert two verts, boom, and boom, and two verts on this guy. Okay, and then what I can do is just copy my X here. It's getting a little hard to see. Okay, get closer. And these two I can make planar in the Y or the X, and then paste that X. That puts them in line. Copy the X on this guy. and then make these two planar in the X, and then paste the X. Okay, and now I can connect. Okay, now I should be able to ring. It gets around that, and I need to get this guy here. Hold control there, so I hit ring, add that guy. And now I can do my 10 segments all the way to the same line, and I should be able to tap it in easy, hopefully. See what happens. So 10, okay, and now I gotta once again go and grab every other one of these bad boys, making sure I get these as well. Hit Q, just so, let me show you what can happen. If I'm on the move tool and I'm going and selecting, and I accidentally, when I'm clicking really quick, accidentally move, it does let me click and move, and that can happen just a little bit and screw everything up. So if you're doing mass selections, it's safest to use select, and if I click, it's just going to try to make a drag. So it won't move the model. You might end up selecting something elsewhere by dragging on accident, but you won't move something that's possibly on the other side of the model. That can get you into bad trouble. Okay, and once again I'm done. I'm going to hit that. So I just do one side at a time. Extrude out. Okay, hit OK. And we'll make planar in Y. You see, I'm going to have extra verts that got flattened. This is got extruded out from the very bottom here, which was flat. So if you see here, I flattened this piece here. I'm just going to go ahead and do it because welding verts will get rid of that. So planar in the Y, hit S, and then move that in by snapping, and it looks good. Except I did want to get the other side. Let me see if I can, yeah, undo back to get that. What I needed to do first was make sure these are smaller. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 risers, and I forgot one. I gotta remember to grab this guy, and I need to cut here. That sucks. Simple. Insert vert. Oops. S, so it doesn't want to snap me over to something else. And I'll insert that guy there too. Hit 1 and W so I can copy my X. Then I'll take these two, make them planar in the X. See, we're close, and then paste the X, and then make sure I connect here. Okay, and I can just go back to faces, right click, get off optimize. Okay, and those are my 6 risers, so I'll just extrude that out, hit OK, make planar in the Y. Looks good. And then snap to those. And it's looking good. No, I did it the opposite way. Hang on. Yeah, I'm done. I made my 6 risers to be 6 divots. That's not good, so I gotta do the opposite. Which means now I gotta cut here. You know, sometimes you just gotta work through it. So insert a vert there, and insert a vert there, and again copy that X. Make these planar in the X. Whoever was watching that was probably pulling their hair out, going, dude, you're screwing it up, you haven't noticed yet. That happens. Because you gotta remember, my eyes are only focusing on what I'm doing. I don't necessarily notice what's going on outside of it. Always in time to catch what I'm doing wrong. So I'm just gonna go here. These, because these need to dip in, they're what I need to extrude. And I won't make the mistake on the other side, which is good news. Make sure I don't have anything extraneous selected. And extrude. Hit OK, make planar, Y. Hit S, and go ahead and snap that back to the vert. There we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 risers and 7 dents. And I believe that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty close to the real deal Holyfield there. So do the same thing on this side. Hit Q so I don't break my model. If I don't click as fast as I move. And once again I extrude. Make planar in the Y. And snap in. And now what I want to do is select all my verts, so I know I got a bunch that I need welding, and just go weld, and I'll just drag my tolerance down to 0.01. Hit S to get off of that and just give myself a little check. I have 2 verts there, but I grabbed something on the other side, I think. Yeah, I grabbed that guy too. Check another spot here. Vertex 303, 376. Okay, I'm good. Now, I'm going to get uglies down here, but now I'm also, if I don't split this across the top, going to get some nasties happening here. So what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and cut that in. I'm adding quite a few polygons now, but I can optimize it a little bit. So I need to do 1 cut first, not the 10 yet. Okay, and then let me just grab this X position and then paste that there, and then I can connect it here. This helps me already isolate the problems. There's no more having to shoot triangles way out there. And now what I can do is come off of optimize and just get these 4, might probably get 2,000 polys or so when I'm finally done with this. Still under my budget. That's why I decided to go ahead and do these in the model to add a little bit of, slight bit of unwrapping nightmare, but that's okay. Connect with 10. Okay. Do that again. Alright. And then get these and shrink them until they're roughly the same. And now I can connect, just scrub across here. And now I'm actually clean. Okay. I don't have any lighting artifacts. And I didn't hit 2000 yet, so that's okay. So there. I'm going to say that the slide is actually pretty good. Really only added, let's see how many polys this whole charade takes up. It's actually a lot. It's 500 polygons to add that detail, as opposed to probably 100 that was there before. Well, let me see if I can't. There's really not an awful lot I can do to bring that count too far down. So I'll connect this here. Okay. Like I said, not maintaining quads or anything. And now I've got quite a bit of, if I hit this and hit 2 and then turn, you're going to see an awful mess. A terrible, terrible mess. And I can alleviate that some by just splitting in a vert and then using optimize, which is somewhere here. Okay, when I'm doing these connections, I'm just clicking once and scrubbing. And again, these edges are underneath the model. If they weren't, and it was going to be more where I needed it to be visible, the fix would have been to extend these segments to the next row here. But like I said, because that's going to be like that, and you might possibly see it like there, I'm really not worried about it at all. It's going to be 100% off the radar, which is good. There we go. Okay. And then I connect here. And up under here. Okay. And then I think that's okay. The side of the model's good. I feel like my channels are a little less less wide than they could be, or should be. So I'm going to fix that a little bit. Made them a little too thin. Easy fix, hopefully. Gotta be a little careful. I'm gonna break my sight. So right here is gonna shoot these points that way. So I'm just gonna get the sight out of there for now. And now I can widen those a little bit. Let's go ahead and get across the whole top here. So that it stays even. Okay. Not worried about what happens down there. And now I can scale that out a little bit, like 128% or so. Uh-oh. What happened is, let me exaggerate, I left these edges down here. So what I can do is I can see if this works, grow one time, and then just get rid of these extras that came in. Make cues. The other reason to use select instead of a transform tool is it gets the gizmo out of your way, which is a good thing. Just check what I got going on here. Looks like I accidentally grabbed and deselected some of this stuff. I need to get these side faces, otherwise I don't keep the sides of these guys in parallel, or, you know, perpendicular perfectly. Okay, I think that selection is good. Now I can go roughly 128%, 130, looks good. And really now what I want to do is just get these guys and visually, actually let me get these guys as well. And what I can do is scale them in until it looks about the same, which is about there. And it's a little much. I could also, if I wanted to here, minus this, do a little trick. If I wanted to say I didn't want this to extend this far, I only want it to extend here, but I don't want to bust all this even spacing. If I go view left, no, view front, and I change my reference to be this, the center of my selection, try to get that even. Now I can actually see, I don't break my evenness and go farther if I want. And I make it go a little bit less. However, it's actually about as far as it goes. It's a little hard to determine, but the if I just move this guy, let me change my move tool to be here. You can see I'm actually pretty close here. The error I really made is the depth of this guy. Really, these points here need to go about there, and then that needs to go about there. But these are actually pretty spot on without even trying, just by doing the same distance. So apparently this distance and this distance are not the same, which I thought it was dead center here, but it's not. So just going by the reference, you know, I can help it a little bit, make it look a little more even. Bringing that in, it was probably there, and I do have perspective in this picture. Got to keep that in mind. It's kind of hard to tell, but on the top, it's actually going away from me that way. The 3-point perspective is actually pinpointed about right here. So these are shooting, or maybe right here. This is going in. That's why this isn't a perfect straight up line like this is. This is a curve that way, because I'm actually seeing it a little bit like that, you know, slightly. And oops, let me actually, I think I could have done that because my pivot's actually at the 0 point. So let me redo that. And then I can just move it back to 0 here in the Z to put it exactly back where I want it. So I'll just go back to my perspective, and I'm actually good to go. So that sight, even here, doesn't look like it fits in there good. If I also remember, the sight breached backwards, which I kind of forgot to do. So if I wanted to do that, because I mean, what I could do just to cheat it is just move that back a little bit, make it a little deeper. Unless you were measuring and looking, you wouldn't really notice that this is thicker here. And then there's a cut here where this dips back in one of the versions, not this one though. That was kind of why I forgot to do it. However, this version, you can see that the sight's channeled in there and actually goes back. There's more of it that moves back, but the version that I'm using here didn't have that, so I'm not gonna do it. This is also the version that has the curvies, so I'm gonna keep, and I'm using the straight, so I'm gonna use the straight sight. And so my forgetting to do that actually is a good thing. And the sight is about done. Now I just gotta really do the grip. Add some of these things. It's not gonna be super difficult, but at the same time it's going to require effort and concentration. You know, still have to work it correctly, and I might have to break some of the things that I had originally done, you know, get rid of them to get clean chamfers and stuff, because it was working okay as a low res, but as a high res, those things might get in the way, the same way the injection port got in the way of me chamfering everything nicely. Off the low res, I had to get rid of it first, chamfer, and then cut the ejection port in, because it just worked out. It works out cleaner that way. Just kind of bugs me, but I'm going to see what I can do about that in the material, because I can't do an awful lot to make it more optimized. I mean, that's a quad that's giving me a lighting artifact. I mean, what can I truly do about that, you know? Not an awful lot. There's some misdirected crap going on here. This should probably be, well, I did say that the curve tightened here as it started to go around here. So some of the detail I might just connect in and let that round it. Other things I might try to chamfer, but because there's kind of always two ways. I mean, I could have always connected edges here and manually done this curve, but it's kind of better to let chamfer handle some of these things. But when you're dealing with these, a little bit more of a complex shape, considering it's got convex stuff going on here, or concave, I always forget. And here in particular, I might be able to get away with chamfering here, but because I've already cut here, it might be best for me to just manually chop that stuff in. I'm going to have to cut a piece out here to make that thumb dent. Definitely want to chamfer this one to make that little round curve, and can add a couple more segments here and there to make sure that this is smoother. And I can probably chamfer this a little bit to pick up some edge highlights and stuff like that. Just try to slightly plan. Same thing, I can probably run a chamfer down this top to pick up edge highlights the same way I did on the slide here. So this being the main receiver part of the gun, which molded into the grip, will be our next project. And I'm going to cut a hole for the mag, and then I'll do up the mag. A barrel, I don't really need to do a ton to the barrel. The sights are pretty good. If I look closely at the sight on one of these views, it's actually got a curve. It's not sharp metal. If you ran your thumb and scraped your thumb across this, it's not going to cut your finger. However, if you did it to this, it's going to hurt. It's a corner, you know. That'll give you a scrape. So I could chamfer this one all the way around this guy to make that a little cleaner, but I'm going to see where my budget's at, my detail's at, before I hit that, because again, that is as in your face as it's going to get when you go to aim this gun. You know, it's not going to be that close, but it'll be like that. You'll see the hand here. When I go to animate this, it'll be pretty much a view like that. So it's gonna be kind of big on the screen, so it would be worth doing. I just want to check my budget first, because it's going to be really easy to do. It's not going to be an issue. I just do it. It would be, however, more difficult to do it and then say, oh, I don't like it, and I want to remove what I've done. It'd be harder to. You'd have to go in and weld each corner, which isn't a nightmare, but you have to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to save this, and then I'm going to start on the grip. So real quick, let me hide unselected and then unhide my reference pick. I'm going to need to make sure I match those channels in the back so it interlocks, which is going to be pretty easy. Just cut across here and drop it down, no biggie. So okay, I'm going to save and code this and then start the next part, which is the grip.